Anyway, okay, moving on from the ears. What else I didn't like? Well, some stuff I didn't like because they didn't have it. They didn't have Two-Face. Okay, Two-Face is the number 2 Batman villain. How can you have a Batman show and for 5 seasons not have the number 2 Batman villain? It's just not right. I mean, it's just not right. Because you should have at least the top 5 superhero villains in the superhero show. And if you're not going to do it in the first season because you're building up to it, that's fine. That's fine. If you don't want to do it in the second season because you're building up to the big fight, that's fine. That's what they did in the Superman animated series. But if you go for 5 seasons and don't put in the number 2 villain, I mean, what's wrong with you? And there's no Scarecrow. I think they took him out because they thought, which would be too scary for kids. So we won't have a disfigured face villain. We won't have a scary villain. We'll put in Black Mask, a guy who carved his mask out of his wife's coffin. You know, for kids. Okay, I stole that from Nostalgia Critic. But anyway, moving on. The biggest. Well, okay, I didn't like what they did with Scarface either. Scarface ventriloquist did really nothing with him. But that's because I love the way in the old one. But I'll get to that later. But the biggest thing I don't like, what they did, what they really messed up on. Oh, wait. I'll get to that in a sec, but more. There's also the Penguin. What the heck? I mean, that's what they made him, and they made him know Kung Fu. Penguin doesn't know Kung Fu. He's a fat guy with an umbrella. That's what he is. Or he's a crime lord. It's one of those two. It's not a Kung Fu master umbrella wielding thing with 2 geishas. Where did they come from? I mean, seriously. They were never in the comics, not once. I think they thought they'd go on the thing what they did with like Harley Quinn in the old Batman series, where they just put a sidekick there and hoping that to be inducted in the comics, but it didn't work. Anyway, but the biggest thing I didn't like is the... Oh, and I also don't like that they took away Freeze's gun. But it's the Joker! What the heck did... Okay, I like a few of the episodes with the Joker's in. What's with the long dreads? Dreads? I mean, why does he... Okay, maybe they're not dreads, but they're super long hair. He's like a guy who was trying to grow up, I don't know, a mullet, and forgot the top, and just went down. I mean, what the heck? Like, there are some good episodes with the Joker in there. There's quite a few, actually. But for one thing, what's with the dreads? For another thing, why doesn't he have shoes? What? No shoes? None? No shoes. Okay, no shoes. But, it's just a big problem with me. But I love the Riddler, okay? I hate this, and this, but I love this. I don't hate it. Like, I still like some of the episodes with those guys in it. I just don't like what they did with them. Okay, moving on. We've talked about the old, the new. Now it's time to do the old. I absolutely love the villains in the old one. The old show. Well, let's take a look at all my complaints on the other ones. Well, let's start with Mr. Freeze. He had his gun, the heart. Well, before this, the thing about this show is they took the villains and they actually reinvented some of them, revolutionized, if that's a word. But like Mr. Freeze. Let's take a look at Mr. Freeze. Before he was just a mad scientist with my freeze gun. I'm going to freeze everyone and take over the world. Yeah, that's what he was before. But then, the animated series, they actually had a story, and the story was good. I mean, like, he was such an emotionalist villain. Like, there's one scene where he's fighting Batman, shooting his freeze gun, and he freezes the legs of one of his henchmen. The guy's like, help me. He's like, come on, let's help. And the other henchmen are like, come on, let's help him. He's like, leave him. He should have been more careful. Cold shoulder, man. He had absolutely no feelings except hate and love for his wife. Revenge and love. Revenge and love. Wow. What a family man. Anyway, moving on a little. What else? I love the Penguin. Well, I didn't love the Penguin, but he was a cool character in this. No complaints, really. He was both the crazy guy with the umbrella, and he was also the mob boss and the crime boss in the first season. I loved Two-Face. They had Two-Face in this. He was a great character, had a whole bunch of stuff, and he did a whole bunch of stuff, and okay, let's take a look with the top 5 Batman villains. That would be, at least the top 5 well-known. That would be Joker, Two-Face, Catwoman, Mr. Freeze, and well, I guess, well, they just had them all, except for Black Mask, I guess, but he wasn't really popular until later on in life, but but they had like every one. Sorry, my battery died, but okay, what was I talking about? Well, anyway, yeah, they had all of the Batman villains in there, and okay, and they were all done well. I can't think of one that wasn't done well. I mean, the Two-Face was done well. The Scarecrow, well, okay, the Scarecrow, when he started, he was, well, actually, the first few episodes he was good, but then he was a little bit of a joke. But then in the new Adventures of Batman, he was really, really good. And in this show, they actually made, as I kind of mentioned before, they actually made up a comic book villain. They weren't even trying, but it just happened. Paul Dini, one of the writers and producers of the show, he was just thinking, hey, what if one of Joker's henchmen was a hench girl? And so he drew a girl in a clown costume, and he named her Harley Quinn after the Harlequin. And he actually he named it after his friend Arlene Arlene something. And so he called her and she actually does the voice. And yeah, of Harley Quinn. Yes, so they created it, and the fans loved her. And she got her own comic book later on. But she's such a cool villain-esque. But okay, the number one thing that they did right was exactly the number one thing the other show did wrong. The Joker. Now, Mark Hamill's laugh is, this is what scared the crap out of me when I was a little boy. Here, I'm just going to do a quick thing. We're going to take a look at Mark Hamill's laugh and this other guy's laugh. I don't even know who he is. Who cares? But we're going to take a look at both of their laughs, okay? And see if you can tell which one's... And then there... Okay, not that. I mean, if you could... it doesn't take a genius to look at it and realize which one's better. I mean, holy... And not only that, not only is it the laugh, but the Joker in the show actually gets to do some damage to Batman in his heart. Like, okay, if you ever watch Batman Beyond Return of the Joker, you'll know what I'm talking about. And if you haven't, watch it. There's an amazing scene in it where you flash back to Batman and he did something in here and just watch Batman Beyond Return of the Joker. You'll be blown away. Alright, anyway, moving on. Yeah, okay, so on the villains, definitely goes to the old, okay? Definitely, there's no other way to describe it. Like, there's just, like, I had so many complaints about them, have so many good things about this. I mean, like, the Scarface in this show, the Scarface ventriloquist, is much better than the other one, because the other one's so silly, and this one has a gun. I'm Tommy Gun, for crying out loud. He's an actual mobster, and everything's really, really good about the old one compared to the villains. Alright, next.